What if I told you that you can turn a man on without ever even touching him? What if I also told you this strategy is so powerful that you don't even have to dirty talk with him about anything? If you want to learn this powerful strategy, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing how to turn men on without ever even touching them. That way, you understand how to cast a spell over that man that will have him at your mercy, ready to do anything that you want. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Now, you goofy goobers, you see me, I'm in a professional shirt today. I got a collared shirt on because I want to keep it professional because y'all are nasty. Last night, I was debating which one topic are we going to do? Are we going to talk about nice guys or are we going to talk about how to turn men on without touching them? I asked this question in our Discord thinking, oh, for sure, they're going to want to know about the nice guys and how to avoid them and the problems with them and things like that. That's the depth they want to go into. But no, when we had a vote in our Players Club Discord, it was overwhelming that the chat wanted to know how to turn men on without touching them. So here we are. I'm in a collared shirt today. I'm keeping it professional, but I brought a nice present for you. Do any of you guys know what this is? This present that I brought for you, you nasty gooby goobers, okay? I brought you some baby oil, word to Diddy, because that's clearly where you guys want the show to go today. Welcome, how are you guys doing? We're gonna have to keep this somewhat clean and family friendly, okay? But this is a 20+ show, all right? Who we got up in the chat today, all right? We got Bree is here, Julia is here, Callie is here, Harry is here, all right? Daniel's here, Carla's here, Go Plants is here, one of our generous members of the show, okay? Who else we got in the YouTube chat? Let me see who we got in here. We got, I see Crystal is here, T is here, Minnie is here, Blair is here, Justice, Ella. I see we had Ivy here earlier. Tracy Niles was one of the first people in the chat. Our channel member, Nicole, one of our amazing channel members and generous channel members. Great Fortune Cookie, one of our amazing channel members. Electric Field is here as well. Irina is here, Jazz here. Welcome all of you beautiful people. And of course we have Missy America, our principal, holding it down. Let's get started, okay? We're going to have to keep this somewhat professional. I'm going to warn you, this is obviously going to be kind of like a 20+ show. So if you're on the younger side, this is not your show. Also, for those of you who stay to the end, we're going to have a 20+, like probably 25+, last little bonus point there. I don't know if I'm even going to, the last little bonus point, we're not going to talk about after we talk about it on the show. So if you're staying to the end here, there's going to be a bonus point, but that bonus point, we're not going to discuss it after we discuss it on the show, okay? Never again, all right? I had one little one for you guys at the end there, all right? So let's get started off with number one. And number one here, I know this sounds a little bit basic, but I promise you we're going somewhere very special. And I want to help you to be able to embrace this in all aspects, okay? So we're gonna start off with the walk. Now there's a very particular reason I want us to start off with the walk, even though that seems very basic and typical to think about when we're talking about men and turning them on, okay? Here's the thing about the walk and why it's such an important part of what you're doing here, trying to turn him on. Okay, so let's imagine here, we're gonna make you nice and big because you're the main character, right? You're over here, you. And let's put this man that you like over, we'll put him over here. Yeah, over here is fine. Right, so the man's here. And the reason we wanna kind of talk and discuss the walk is because before he ever gets a chance to speak to you and have conversation with you, the walk is his first time that he's going to be able to observe you, see what you're about, and decide to himself, ooh, I sees her and I wants her. And as we've discussed in the Players Club, right, there's a spiritual aspect to relationships and the way that you present yourself, which means there's a lot of things that go unsaid that we feel within our spirit and our soul that communicate to us certain different things about other people. And then we act on those thoughts or feelings. So what do I mean by that? Your walk is part of your aura, is part of your presence, that when you're in a room and you're maneuvering around a room, Someone who doesn't know you and has never met you is using the aura that you have, the presence that you have, not nonverbal, right? To decipher what are you about? How do you feel about yourself? Are you sexy? Are you attractive? Right? They're using all of those context clues of your aura and your presence to decipher whether or not you're an attractive person. So the walk is part of that aura. We want your presence to be known from the very beginning before he even meets you. So have you guys ever, let me know in the chat, if you've ever heard this lyric by Lil Wayne. It's called I Love to, I forget what song it is. I think it's the Bedrock song. He says, I love to see her, I hate to see her go, but I love to watch her leave. You get it? So the whole idea of this here and the walk, let's imagine you're going this way and you're heading to the bathroom. And you're heading to the bathroom here. And in the process of that, you identify the guy that you want to see you and notice you, okay? And this is the thing. Guys are hunters, okay, by nature. Meaning, when they go out into the wild, into the jungle, they don't hunt anymore. They just go to the club, okay? So when they go to the club, the bar, the restaurant, the whatever, they're going there and they're hunting. Meaning, they're looking for potential partners, assuming that they're a single man, right? And they're looking for potential partners and scouting. Who are the most attractive women in this place here, okay? Who looks good, who doesn't look good, because he's deciding himself, do I want to come up to someone? Is someone feeling me? What is the vibe here? What are other people feeling? Do I want to talk to this person, have a conversation with this person? So he's always on the hunt. Men are looking and scouring the land anytime they go out to see who is who. Now, when you go out and you identify the guy that you want, you have to understand that he is going to be observing you, assuming you're an attractive woman, right? He's going to be observing who are the attractive women. So when you can make this process, I want to draw this right here. When you can be really, really strategic, you want to use this time period of him observing to give him your most confident and sexy walk. Like Lil Wayne said, I hate to see her go, but I love to watch her leave. There's a reason for that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the biggest dump truck in order to mesmerize guys with your walk. That's not what it's about. It's about walking with confidence that when they see you, they're like, oh my God, she's her, right? Have you ever, now let me know in the chat here, have you ever gone out to a venue, to a party, to an event, and you've seen a girl there and you're like, oh my God, she is her, right? You didn't speak to her. You've never met her before. You don't know any of her friends, but just by you seeing her walk around the room, you're like, oh my God, that she is her. She definitely puts the men to their knees. Let me know in the chat if you've ever seen a girl like that and come to that realization yourself. The reason that I asked that question, okay, is very important because if you can notice that when you go out somewhere, okay, and you can notice that about other women and the men are on the hunt, what do you think they're noticing? They're noticing that as well. So your walk is a very important representation of your own self-confidence. And I know we talk about confidence a lot, but confidence is attractive. And confidence can turn men on, especially when you make this walk with confidence. So the reason I brought this little example and visual for you is because when you're in a room, I kind of really want to be very specific how you're going to do this. When you're in a room, you want to be always planning your course of attack, okay? But your attacks aren't going to be as overt or obvious as the men's attack. So what I mean by that is when you analyze the guy that you want or the guy that you like, have been liking, that you know he's at this party, you want to strategically put yourself in his line of sight in a way that makes you look like you just happened to be in his line of sight. Oh, it was an accident that I walked by you and I look so mesmerizing and amazing. I look like a goddess that just fell down from the sky. It was an accident. I didn't even know you were there. You're at the same party as me. I didn't even see you there, right? That's what it's got to be. And the reason it's got to be like that is because we want him taking notice of you so that he's starting to say to himself, oh my goodness, who is that? I need to find out exactly who that is. So this process of you having that presence that makes him stop and stare is so important, okay? And some of you already know where I'm going with this, right? You kind of want to walk slower. You want to walk with more confidence. So what does walking with confidence mean, right? You want to back straight. If you got an arched back, it's not really going to be very attractive. It's not going to turn a lot of men on, right? You're going to look like a hunchback, right? We don't want you to look like that. We want you back straight. We want you walking with confidence, right? And this is where you're going to have to get good at practicing your strut, okay? So I know this is going to sound really weird and really strange coming from a guy because I'm a man, but you want to practice in the mirror or in your room your strut. So if there are particular shoes that you want to wear or heels or whatever that you want to wear out, you actually want to practice your strut in those shoes. And I know it sounds very silly, very childish, very comical, but you have to. If you're only wearing these shoes when you go out, then when you wear the shoes out, you feel uncomfortable, you feel awkward, and you don't know how to walk. This whole process of you having this nice seductive walk that he's so excited to come up to you and talk to you is not going to work. Okay? And you can't be trying to figure out how you're going to do your walk on the fly. Okay? Someone said, can you demonstrate? I'm not demonstrating the strut walk. Okay? The supermodel walk. I can't do it. All right? I'd have to have one of you here to demonstrate the walk. But this is, as silly as it sounds, is such a critical part to doing this right. Because we want you to have presence when you make this walk. Right? You're only going to get so many chances to do this, especially if this is a first impression. So this chance that you use to make this first walk should set the stage that you are indeed her, okay? That he can start saying to himself, damn, I want to get to know her. Because we're accomplishing multiple things at once. We're turning him on, yes, but we're turning him on, one, either because we want him to approach you, or we want to put you in a position of power, where he's so mesmerized by you, you kind of have him in a place where you can get anything you want from him at this moment. So the walk is the very first part of that. Your strut is so important, right? The erect back, no diddy. The erect back is so important, right? That you're walking with confidence and you look like her. You actually have to believe it, right? To be true. That way, when you do it, everyone else believes it to be true. And this is going to communicate a lot of things to men. And I know that some of you are thinking that this isn't as important. You're probably like, nah, why would I be paying attention to walking in my house trying? This matters, right? All of these small little details, which are the details we go over in the show, are the little things that add up to make the difference between the women who men find really seductive and magnetic versus the women who they're just like, you're like one of the bros. You think the bros are worrying about their strut? No. Okay. Right. So that's why the bros they just hang out with them and they don't think about them. Right. But the girls who are mesmerizing for a reason. And there's work being put into that. Now, I know that one was a little bit less intimate, I would say, but we're going to hop into some things that are a little bit more intimate, and we're going to hop into some things that are really about direct communication. I wanted to start off with the walk because the walk is your presence, okay? And the walk is part of your aura, your unspoken riz. That's what the kids say nowadays, right? Unspoken riz. They always talking about riz, all right? I'm one of the kids, but it's all good. Anyways, let's go on to point number 2, all right? Point number 2. Now, I have to be very clear on this. And what we are trying to do here, because this can be done very wrong and very right. And you're going to notice throughout this show, I'm going to be doing a lot of right and wrong charts because today is not a analogy show. I really want you to get specific on what you're going to be doing and the right way to do this and the wrong way, because if we do too many analogies, it can be too abstract for you. We're going to get right to the stuff today. All right, so let's hop into the right way and the wrong way to do this, okay? Because this can be very, very tricky. All right, so right way to do eye contact if you want to turn him on. We want to get you in a place where you're holding gaze, right? Now, very important. You're holding gaze, but what you're not going to do is you're not going to stare blankly. Please do not go up to him or when you're having a conversation with him and hold your cup, right? Or hold your glass and you're just like, I think you're so attractive. I think you're so sexy. So I'm just going to keep staring until you notice me. Don't do that, please. The reason I say that I'm not trying to be silly. I really mean it, because sometimes this can go overboard, where instead of you being seductive, you're actually being very scary. Please don't do that, right? So let's even get more specific. How long are you gonna hold this gaze for, okay? We're gonna go for 3, 2, 10 seconds, okay? Now, there's a very specific reason for that. I'm putting a range here, right? Depending on how you catch the gaze, whether it's gaze in a sense of having conversation or gaze in a sense of just passing by, this is going to differentiate. Now, in this sense, where I'm talking about gaze, this gaze for 3 to 10 seconds is gaze when passing by. However, if you're in conversation with this man and you want to turn him on, this gaze should be held, right? You hold it for the conversation, meaning the duration of the conversation. As long as he's directly talking to you, you look directly in his eyes, okay? I tell you all the time that the goal that you want to be thinking of, the energy that you want to embody when you go out on your dates or when you're meeting men to really do what you want to do, is to be a seductive therapist, right? And to be a sexy listener, so to speak. So as he's talking to you, that's the time where you want to be focused on eye contact. And even when you're communicating to him, you want to be focused on direct eye contact. Now, let me tell you something. For those of you who have not done this, this is going to feel very strange to you. To like really focus on holding your gaze with someone when you're having a conversation with them, this is going to feel a little bit awkward. I'm going to give you, oops, drop my pen here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a pro tip here on how to do this so right that you never make a mistake, because you can start fumbling and stumbling and do this very wrong. I'm going to give you a little tip. I can't remember where I learned it, but this is a little tip as it relates to eye contact. You may or may not have heard this before, okay? You're going to stare at the, we'll say actually, so this is a little strategy here. I told you we're going in depth here. You're going to stare at the top of their nose, okay? So right where the forehead kind of meets the nose and the nose begins, right between their eyes, that's the place where you actually want to be looking at. I know we're going deep into the weeds here, because this type of seduction, right, is always part of a very detailed strategy. When you're looking into someone's eyes and you're gazing into them and you want to make it an intimate moment to really make him feel your energy, you want to be looking, the mistake that you might make is you're looking at one eye or the other, right? Because when someone says look into their eyes, you're actually looking at one of those eyes. The problem is, as you're looking at these eyes, you might not realize it, but this can be something you notice or observe of someone else looking at you. Tell me in the chat, have you ever been looking into someone's eyes and they're looking into yours? And when you're looking at their eyes, you're actually seeing their eyes shift back and forth, right? As they're looking at you. What's happening there, tell me in the chat if that's ever happening. What's happening there is they're actually looking at your eye, like the eyeball, okay? And they're looking at the individual eyes and their focus is shifting from one eye to the other, right? So they're not nervous or doing something weird. They're actually looking at the eyeballs. But that's why I say there's a specific strategy to doing eye contact the right way, because you don't want to be looking as if you're looking at each. I'm laughing because I've perceived this, so it's really funny. People don't notice this, but when you're doing this, when you're looking at their eyeballs, your eyes are also shifting. But you don't see that because you're thinking, oh, this is eye contact. So what you want to do is, instead of actually staring at the eyeball, you stare at the nose bridge right here, kind of the top of the nose area, right between the eyes. And that's the place that you put your focus on. That way, when you focus on that area of their face, your eyes won't shift. And you won't come across as if you're kind of nervous or not sure of yourself, because all of these kind of micro expressions can communicate something different to the guy other than the confidence that we want you to come across with, okay? So we're gonna put right here, you stare at the top of the nose, and the wrong way to do it is to look at the eyeball. Very strange, but it's nuanced, right? And it's nuanced for a reason, right? When we're getting your seduction down, we're going deep into the weeds. We're getting very detailed, right? We're not doing seduction accidentally. We're doing seduction intentionally and purposefully, all right? So eye contact is going to be held throughout the duration of the conversation that you're having with him. Now, I also want to mention to you guys something very interesting that you may or may not have heard of. Okay, I want to talk about soft eyes. There's a way to look and gaze at someone that feels seductive versus a way to look at someone that makes them feel like panic. Remember, you're eliciting a feeling in everything that you're doing, and you're not going to be touching him throughout the duration of what we're talking about today. So everything that your body language communicates, your facial expression communicates, your words communicate, should be making him feel something indirectly, okay? Right? It's not going to be on the nose. It's going to be indirect, but it should communicate a feeling. So what I mean by that, soft eyes is understanding that when I look at someone, I want to look at them in a way that doesn't make them feel anxious, like I'm staring, okay? So let me give you a direct example here. I wish you guys could see my face perfectly. I could like zoom in perfectly on my face, right? This would be an example of what we consider the wrong thing, okay? Let's start off with the wrong thing. So if I'm looking at you and I'm having a conversation with you and I'm like staring like this, like really intensely, my eyes are all wide open and you can kind of see the expression on my face. I'm like spreading my eyes even more to really see what's going on. That's not going to communicate the seduction that you want to communicate, okay? And I know some of you are like, I would never do that. But what can happen is when you're nervous, you start kind of almost going wide-eyed and you start, kind of intensely being like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be focusing on your face. So as you're listening, you're looking as if you have to like take a poop or something while you're listening. But you don't realize that because you're you. So you don't see your face as he's seeing it. So soft eyes would be while you're looking at the person, right? Your eyes are a little bit lower. Think of yourself as maybe you're a little bit buzzed or a little bit high. See, this is easier when you're actually under the influence, but when you're talking to someone and you're listening to them, as you're listening to them, you want your eyes to be a little bit softer. Even in the way you blink is a little bit softer. And as you're looking into their eyes, but you're not staring, okay? And your face isn't stretched and your face isn't like cringed, right? You're just relaxed. You're cool. You're listening. You're looking into their eyes intensely, but you're not stressed out. And you're not going to be making them anxious as they're talking to you, right? Very subtle, but it communicates something very large to them. And a lot of times guys can't even understand these subtle differences, but trust me, it makes them feel different, right? They probably couldn't explain it to you, but they know that it feels different, right? So the difference between soft eyes and what we could call intense, right? We don't want you. Have you guys ever seen, some of you guys probably don't know the rapper Lil Durk. Have you guys ever seen a picture of Lil Durk? He's a rapper. He always takes pictures, and in his pictures that they capture him, he's like this in the pictures, right? He looks like something's about to happen, like he's on edge, right? We don't want your eyes to make you look like you're on edge. It's not going to seduce him. It's not going to turn him on the way that you want to turn him on. Because remember, turning him on without touching him is about communicating a feeling, okay? Right? I know a lot of people will talk to you guys about eye contact, which is why I wanted to go deeper in the weeds about eye contact, how to do it the right way as you're having conversation with him, because the eyes are the window to the soul, as I'm sure you've heard before. Okay, so it's so important that you understand it's not just about the looking, it's about understanding how is your face looking while he's looking at your face. Okay, and some of these subtle things are really key elements to doing it the right way, especially that shifting of the eyes. That's one thing I've noticed a lot before, okay? Easy fixes too as well. You don't have to do a whole bunch to do this the right way. Let's hop into our third point. And as you get good at this, this is why I always tell you guys, listening on dates and in conversation is the best way to go. Once you organize your questions together, or you know what you're gonna ask someone, it's so much easier to focus the rest of your energy on just seducing them with your body language and the way that you listen. You understand what I'm saying? That's why listening is undefeated. All right, let's go into number 3, right? This is gonna be an interesting one because not sure if any of you have ever experienced this before. Maybe you have. That'll be good if you have. Let me do this right so it looks good. Sorry, I have a little bit of OCD, Chuck. There we go. All right. So what we're going to be doing here is giving you a little bit of an understanding of suggestive themes. All right. Now, what are suggestive themes? Have you ever watched what's the word? What's the network that I'm thinking of? Let's say Family Guy, right? Or one of these shows that are like the adult cartoons. And when you start watching the show, they'll say, oh, the following show has suggestive themes and adult content. Viewer discretion is advised, right? And they'll say that, right? So what are suggestive themes really, right? Someone said Adult Swim. Yeah, Adult Swim. So suggestive themes are things that you'll talk about that if you're an adult, they kind of have a bit of a sexual connotation to them, right? But if you're not really mature or emotionally mature, you won't really pick up on the connotation there and what it means. Suggestive themes are good for you and turning men on because you're saying something without saying something, okay? Let's kind of hop into our example of what we want to say. So let's imagine you're here and you're telling a guy a story. Today you have curly hair, all right? Your hair is nice and curly. And so you're telling this guy a story about how much, this is going to sound very weird, how much you love your amazing your weighted blanket, right? And this weighted blanket that you have, let's say you're describing to him a story, right? So let's actually put yourself there. So you're talking to this guy and you're saying, oh my God, I was going to sleep the other day and there's nothing I love more than sleeping with an amazing warm weighted blanket on top of me. Just having something big and large on top of me while I'm sleeping, it just gives me so much. Oops, spelled this right. Pleasure. Having something so large just draped on top of me while I sleep, there's no better feeling than that. I just feel so small underneath the weighted blanket. It puts me in a place that's very magical. And those of you that are mature will be like, oh, you're not really talking about a weighted blanket, are you? No, I'm not. But I am talking about a weighted blanket if you're an adult and you know how things can be insinuated without actually saying that. Okay, so obviously you're talking about a weighted blanket and how the weighted blanket gives you a whole lot of pleasure from having something so large sitting on top of you. But he's not actually hearing you talk about a weighted blanket. When you say that and you talk about how you love this big, large blanket sitting on top of you, he's actually thinking about his own big body sitting on top of you and giving you a whole lot of pleasure, right? He's translating this, we can call it a translation, right? He's translating this to, oh, you're saying you like really large, strong, beastly objects sitting on top of you. And that gives you a whole lot of pleasure. And then he might ask you, see, this is where guys kind of clue in. They're like, wait, are we talking about blankets still? They might even ask you, you like really big things sitting on top of you? And this is where you get good. Remember, they're suggestive themes. We're not actually going to talk about anything, just the suggestiveness of it. So when he says, oh, you like big things on top of you? That's how you feel? Yeah, what's wrong with that? I can't enjoy a weighted blanket? And he's like, no, it just kind of sounds a little bit dirty. What's dirty about a weighted blanket? And this is where you play dumb, right? You play like I just suggested that I love having big, heavy weighted blankets on top of me. I don't know where you got the idea that I was talking about sex. I don't do those type of things. I'm not sure why you came to the conclusion that we're talking about you on top of me. I don't even know. I didn't even see that you're a human. You're big. I don't know. You look kind of small. I wasn't thinking about that, right? And this is where you play innocent because you're suggesting something, but you're never going to be on the nose with men. I know it sounds weird because you're thinking, but men say that they want directness. They say they like bluntness. They say they like women to tell them exactly how they feel. They don't. Okay? They don't. They want you to beat around the bush, give them little breadcrumbs just for them to think to themselves, oh, are you into me? Do you like me? Do you want me? Oh, do you want this? Oh, if you want this, we can do this. Okay? But you want him constantly in a place where he's decoding that information. That mental work that men have to do as they're decoding and trying to understand, are you saying something else that you're not saying here, or is there something in the air here? That actually turns them on more because they start to feel like, oh, it's time for me to hunt. The deer is here and ready and primed for me to. Everyone, hold on, wait, we got her, she's here, she wants me, but it's good, it's going to raise his blood pressure. It's going to give him some anxiety, but it's actually going to get him moving in motion, right? And that actually turns men on to be in the hunt, right? Get him in motion, get his mind moving. He's like, oh, it's go time. We going now, right? They don't like to feel the pressure of you coming on to them, right? But they like it when you can suggest things that they can start saying, okay, I think I'm feeling a vibe here, right? Very good. Okay, so let's move on to number 4. Does that make sense to all of you so far? All right. I'm very serious about this stuff. I know you guys are laughing, but this is actually a real show, right? We're very serious here, right? I'm being for real. And when you get good at this, it's a dance, right? Flirting, seduction, turning men on. It's a dance, right? You're never, as a woman, you're never gonna put things on the nose, right? You're never gonna be too overtly obvious with what you want or what you're thinking. Let the men do the work. They actually enjoy doing the work. Don't let them convince you that they don't like doing the work. They love doing the work, okay? Number 4. All right. Number 4. One really important part of talking to men, okay, is understanding these 2 things. We talked earlier about your walk and how that creates aura, okay? And then we also talked about your eye contact when you're having conversation with him, right? You want to understand that there's always a mirroring process here, right? So you have your mirror and you have his mirror. And the thing about your mirrors is, as you're talking to a guy, you're trying to seduce him, you're trying to turn him on. Remember that if you give off a very anxious, you guys know I can't draw, so don't be expecting no art here, right? If you give him a very anxious type of energy, right? Because you're really nervous about this conversation you're having. You're really nervous talking to him and seeing him because he's so hot. You're also going to make him feel that bit of anxiety as well. He's going to start to feel like, oh, I'm not being seduced here. I'm actually kind of feeling the anxiety and the nervousness from you as well, right? So you're actually going to kind of do yourself a disservice by conveying that you're super nervous and you're super on edge here. And one of the things that can happen when you're on edge like this and you're having conversation with men is you can tend to really speed up the amount that you talk because you want to get everything out in 1 second because you're kind of really nervous, and so you're kind of like stumbling over your words and you don't know what to say and you don't know how to say it. So you're kind of moving a mile a minute and you're just really giving off a lot of energy that you're anxious and you're nervous about being. You gotta take a breath. Take a moment, relax yourself, understand that if he's here and he's talking to you, it's for a reason. So when you talk, even when you share things, pace yourself, right? Create a rhythm to how you speak to people, right? Especially when you're trying to seduce him. You want there to be peaks and valleys that are consistent in the way that you speak. You want it to feel like a rhythm, right? That as you talk and as you share things with him, even as you express emotion, there's a calming pace to how you express those things. And as you have that pace, it becomes a lot less anxiety inducing and a lot more relaxing. Because the hardest thing to do when you want someone to be turned on by you or the things that you're saying is to put them in an anxious state. If someone is going to be turned on by you, you want them relaxed. You want to put them in a trance. You don't want your words and your pace to feel like it's all scrambled and feel like it's going like this and communicating a feeling of nervousness and anxiety. You want to put them in a place where they feel like you're not worried about anything. You don't have anywhere to be, anywhere to go. You're focused and locked in on this conversation, enjoying it. You're here and you're present. It's the exact same reason why anytime someone wants to hypnotize another person, they immediately start talking low and slow, because you're communicating a feeling that you're putting out into the air, and the other person receiving that is taking that in and doing something with that. And a lot of times, if you don't set the environment for relaxation and to let go, you won't be in a place where you allow men to be turned on by you and all the other things that you're talking about, expressing, and all the feelings that you want him to feel in this conversation. Okay? So, the reason I say that, and the reason I said that like that while we were having this conversation about this point, is because I want you to understand how crazy that can totally change everything that you're saying. It can totally change the way that you feel as you're listening to what I'm saying. And so the importance of that cannot be understated, because if you don't understand how to pace your words and create a rhythm to the way that you talk, then the way that you come across will not be the feeling that you want to elicit inside him, right? And make him feel. Because you want him to feel like you're relaxed, like you're not in an anxious state, so that he can also continue to be relaxed and seduced by you. Because turning men on is also synonymous with seducing them, okay? They're kind of one and the same. And you can't seduce men if you're having yourself in an anxious state where your shoulders are stiff and you're talking a mile a minute, or you sound really nervous and you're stumbling over your words. It doesn't communicate seduction to men. And they're not going to be seduced by you or your energy if you're in that state, okay? So this is obviously something that you practice and not something you're going to get good at overnight. But this is why you kind of, as you go out into the dating world, and even when you meet people, whether it be at work you want to practice with people you just see around town, someone you talk to the grocery store, your friend from high school, you practice with yourself taking things a little bit slower and understanding when you want to communicate different feelings, you change the way you sit, you change the way you stand, you change the way you walk, you talk, and you express things, right? So it's not just about understanding how to seduce people, but when you get good at this, it's understanding, okay, I know what my body language presents, right? My facial expressions present. I want to make this person feel a particular thing. How can I set the stage for that, right? And this is kind of part of that, right? It's a little bit of psychology, but relationships are psychology, right? Let's move on to number 5. Does that make sense to all of you guys? I've seen some of you like, oh, this is like ASMR, okay? It's like a whole different show. One show I should have like ASMR, like where I just whisper the whole time. It'll be like an after dark show. Someone said, please do after dark. It's kind of like that, isn't it? All right, let's hop into point number 5. And after point number 5, we're going to do our bonus point that is only for the adults, okay? Only for the 25 plus adults, okay? So please make sure if you're under 20, after point number 5, you leave. It's not your time anymore, all right? Number 5 here. Okay. Number 5 is to touch your body. Now, once again, similar to the eye contact, we need to be very specific about how we're going to do that the right way and how we're doing that the wrong way, because we don't want you presenting the wrong message here. Okay? So, touching your body, well, let's just talk about touching your body in general. Touching your body is actually a great way to present a seduction to men that can actually turn them on. But this is a very fine line that you need to balance, because we don't want you groping yourself in public and looking very strange, okay? We want him to be seduced by you, not very nervous and concerned, like as if there's something wrong with you, okay? So, right way of touching your body, right? You can do things like you touch and stroke your hair, your neck, right? You can even do things like play with things. Let's even say, I'll even put this in another point, right? Play with items on face or neck. So what do I mean by play with items on your face or neck, right? Playing with your earrings, right? Playing with your necklace as you're looking at him and having eye contact with him, right? Or even just playing with your hair as you're looking at him or having eye contact with him. So let me even add the caveat, right? This should be withheld eye contact, okay? So as you're doing this, you don't want to be looking away from him. You want to be doing this while holding your eye contact with him, okay? Remember, soft eyes, not in a scary way, right? All of these things, this fidgeting, even though you're thinking, well, is fidgeting going to make me look nervous? No. Same way we talked about pace, you're going to do this as if you're relaxed. You're not going to fidget as if, I'm nervous, I'm so nervous, right? You're going to play with things as if you're relaxed, and as he's talking to you, you're just kind of feeling around your body, kind of touching yourself. I know it looks silly when I'm doing it, right? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to come across, right? You don't want to come across as if you have like a nervous, let me put it here, right? You don't want to look like you have some sort of nervous tick here, right? You don't want it to be something as if you're itching something or, you know, you're moving really fast, right? So you don't want to be fast twitching. Right? You don't want to be fast twitching where you're making it look as if, you know, you're really nervous and you don't know what to do and you don't know what to say. And in the process of you twitching like this, is it twitch CH or TH? It's twitch like this? Like when you're talking about twitch like this, or is it TH? Spell police, tell me. Is it twitch CH or is it TCH? I can't remember, okay? Twitch TCH, right? No, now people are saying it's both. Which one is it for this twitch? Twitch TWITCH. Okay, we'll do ITCH. I was trying to think, which one is it for this one? Anyways, spell police, you got me. All right, so this is the thing, right? You don't want it to make it seem as if you're nervous while doing this. We want it to be slow and slow. The same way we talked about the pace of your words is the same way we want to be doing with your body movement. Now, the other thing that I'll say in terms of doing this wrong, right? You don't want to, I know this is going to sound strange, right? It's because when I say touch your body, I know some of you guys are thinking, well, this is about turning men on. So should I grope my own breasts, my yitties? Should I grope my dump truck? No, okay? That's going to send the wrong message, right? We want to seduce him. We want to turn him on. We also don't want to be on the nose though, okay? You're not going to be groping yourself, right? We want you to kind of stay up here, right? The neck, the chest area, we want you to stay up here, touch these areas, right? So some really nice places to do that. Obviously, you have the neck, right? So you can kind of, you guys know the term back scratches, right? Not actually scratching a guy's back, but you know when you do this thing, I don't know how to describe it. We need to come up with an actual word term for this. But you do this thing where you just kind of, you graze with your fingers across someone's skin. A lot of guys will say, oh, I love that when you do this, right? You just kind of graze it across the skin. You're not really scratching it. You're just kind of putting a little bit of weight on it, right? Finger grazing. Finger grazing sounds dirty, but yeah, it's kind of like that. So that's the same thing that you kind of want to be doing on your own body, right? It's even, you can consider it caressing, right? On your own body as you're talking to him, okay? And this can be something you do on the chest area. You can do it a little bit on the neck area. And you can even, if you really want to kind of do something, you can do it on the lips area, okay? That's, you know, we're kind of getting there, but that's another one that you can communicate, right? All of this caressing, right? It sends a message and a subconscious message. They're like, oh my God, like the way she's caressing herself, I feel like we're having an intimate moment here. Someone said, great, now I'm itchy, right? We don't want you looking like you're itchy, right? We want you caressing yourself as you're having conversation with him while holding this contact that he knows you're doing it purposefully, right? That you're looking at him and you're still confident in how you look, you're not nervous and you're doing it as a nervous twitch, right? Someone said lips biting, it's this, yeah, exactly like that, and it's the same kind of idea. Someone said self-soothing, yes, right? So you guys are getting the idea. You want to communicate a feeling of relaxation, right? Those back scratches are relaxing for a reason. There's a reason why people enjoy them and they like you to do that, right? Or some people will be like, oh, can you do that to my head, right? Or my hair, right? It's because that is communicating relaxation. So when they see you doing that to yourself, they're like, oh my God, are we having a moment here? Do you like me? Do you want me? I feel like you do. Are we doing something here? And this is part of what turns men on, like I said earlier. As soon as they get into a place where they feel like you're communicating a feeling, but you're not saying what you actually want here, that's when they're like, oh my God, I think it might happen. I think she wants me. I think we're doing a thing where we're about to do a thing where I might be able to jackrabbit myself inside of her, right? Men are really turned on and excited about the possibility of sex being on the horizon. I know it sounds kind of silly, right? But when you can make men feel like sex is on the horizon but never actually talk about it, that's when they're the most excited, okay? The worst thing you can do if you want a man to be turned on is say, let's have sex right now. I know it sounds very strange when I'm telling you the worst thing to do is to tell men, let's have sex right now, because you're thinking, well, isn't that all they think about? Isn't that all they want, Tomisin? So when I say that, wouldn't that turn them on massively? No. I don't make the rules. I can explain them to you. When you really want to seduce a man and turn him on, the last thing you want to talk about is sex. You want to make him feel like the only time he can guarantee that you guys were about to have sex is when he's actually penetrating himself inside of you. And everything leading up to that, he just wasn't sure. He just didn't know if it was going to happen. Could be any moment now, but I'm not sure you didn't say it. Okay? So that's point number 5. Now, those of you who are under 25, this is your time. I'm going to give you a second to exit the chat. This is not your show anymore. This is not your time anymore. This is the time for the adult people, because I'm going to share with them an adult little secret, and I don't want any of you who are under 25 to be listening to this, because you don't need to hear this. I don't want to break the fourth wall. I don't want to, make you weirded out. It's for older people, okay? We have to be on the same page about this and about men. So please, if you're under 25, exit the chat. We don't need to be discussing this with you, all right? This is the after dark portion, the last little bonus point here, all right? Hope you're gone, those of you who are younger. Point number 6. Let me draw this right. I might not even post this point. We don't need chat. After we talk about this this time, right, in this point, we're not going to talk about this again, okay? So we're not going to mention this again. We're not even going to mention that I talked about this again. You're not going to show guys this, and you're not going to ask them to confirm this to you. You're not going to send this video to anyone. No, okay? This is going to be between me and you. You're here in the live stream. That's all we need to worry about, okay? Now, I'm going to share with you a little bit of a secret about men that they would never in a million years admit to you, okay? Never. So don't even bother asking them. There's a thing that I won't say all men have, but a lot of men have. We can refer to it as I can't believe I'm saying this. We can refer to it as a spank tank, okay? The reason I'm referring to it as a spank tank is, this is so weird. I'm a guy, you're a girl. Guys do watch corn, okay? Corn is cool. Every now and again, though, you see a girl post something online and you screenshot it. It's just inevitable, okay? You see her post it and you're like, oh, she looks really good. And so what ends up happening is, depending on how good you look and how good the picture is of you or the video, you could get put in this folder that is for wanking. I just don't know how else to put it. And what can happen is, if you're posting pictures that you look good in, doesn't have to be overt pictures of you half naked, there's a possibility that you could get put in this spank tank folder, and he might wank himself off to a picture of you, even though it's just an innocent picture of you looking good. I told you we are not going to talk about this ever again after we have this conversation. Never again. You're not going to mention this, that I told you this, to any of your guy friends, not your brothers. No, no one, no guys. We do not talk about this, okay, after this. But this is the thing. So how can you use that to your advantage? Someone said it's an honor to be in the Wank Off collection. Okay, how do you use this to your advantage? You want to post pictures of yourself, right? Whether it be your outfits, right? Your outings, right? Just, things you, just being out and about. And in the process of that, right, you want the focus to obviously be on yourself. And you're going to get an opportunity, obviously, in posting of yourself, and you've been taking care of yourself. It's not a crime, okay? And you don't have to be half naked. And you post yourself looking good, doing your life. And as you're looking good and doing your life, coincidentally, just so happens that you, as an attractive woman doing your life, he finds it very interesting, and he screenshots it, records it, and he puts it in the album, okay, in the spank tank. Now, what you don't want to be doing here, right? You don't want to send the wrong message, so you don't want to be like, half naked. And you don't want to make it an obvious, thirst traps are like, 2012. Well, we don't do those type of things anymore, right? You're a woman. You're an elegant woman. You're a professional woman. You're a grown, mature woman, okay? So you're still an attractive woman, though. And you understand that you're attractive, and the men, they want you. They see you and they want you. So the best way to communicate I'm grown and attractive and I didn't even know how attractive I am is to post yourself doing something else. But in the process of you posting yourself doing something else, you just so happen to be looking good in that post. Okay, right? And this is the thing that you kind of want to be understanding that men do, and you can use this to your advantage to turn the man that you're trying to turn on in an innocent way that doesn't make it seem as if you're trying to turn him on or turn anyone else on or do anything, right? We want you to keep, right? We want you to keep your innocence, right? We want you to look innocent while still looking good. Because ironically, when you look innocent and accidentally you just happen to look amazing, but you weren't trying to look amazing, this is the most attractive thing to men. Because yeah, it's cool for you to post half naked pictures, and then he's like, okay, yeah, you're just like every other girl who posts half naked pictures. But it's even more of a turn on when you can be someone who's attractive that's not really trying to do the most, but you're still that attractive. And you'll be shocked at the type of photos, pictures, videos that men will keep in their spank tank, okay? The reason I say, please don't talk about this ever again with anyone that you know is because, first of all, the guys, they don't want to show you their spank tank, so they don't want to admit to that. And secondly, especially if it's your boyfriend, we don't know what he has in his spank tank. So maybe we don't want to depress you by looking at that. So the reason I say that is because it is true, not something that a lot of men are going to talk about, but it does happen, right? Maybe not every single man on this earth has a spank tank, but trust me, a lot of them do, okay? And you find some interesting things there, okay? And it's not all just half naked women all the time, okay? Depending on what he's into. So the reason I say that is because posting in the right way, in the way that still keeps you how you want to be presenting yourself, can be really powerful in terms of doing that. I know it sounds very strange, okay? But it does happen. Tell me in the chat, let me know actually, because I didn't get a chance to see your responses. Have you ever seen a guy's spank tank based on how I just described it? Have you ever seen one or seen it to be true, or maybe you caught it or you looked through it? I'm curious if any of you have ever actually seen it or caught it before in person, right? Henya says, yeah, I see some people saying no, but I do see some people saying yes, right? Someone said pajamas. What? Pajamas? It was pajamas you seen in there? Okay. Someone said, nah, but I better be the only one in there. Okay. Well, now some of you who have never seen that before, now you know that it exists. Okay. But you're not going to say you heard it from me. Okay. You're not going to share this video with them. And you're not going to say a guy told me. No. You just know it exists. It's there. It's in the air. We're not going to talk about this ever again. Okay. It's just there. It exists. Okay. It is there, right? For a lot of guys, maybe not all the guys. Now, do you guys have any questions about the 6 pro tip bonus point? The 6 points that we just discussed here today. By the way, if those of you here missed any of these points, I should erase this from the board because we don't want people, well, they don't know about the spank tank thing. So do any of you have questions about the 6 that we discussed? And if you missed any of the points, you can go up onto my YouTube page, which is on the top right corner of the screen. And then just type in my name there. You don't have to click on it. Just type in my name, Tomisin, on YouTube, and then go to my YouTube channel, and you can rewind the entire live stream and rewatch every single point there for yourself and for your benefit. Okay. I should probably delete this last point right off of the video, like cut it out of the live stream. Anyways, we'll see if I decide to keep it or not, because this is a pro tip. I don't want too many people knowing about this. Anyways, do you guys have any questions? And if you have a personal, private question that you want to ask me, whether it be about spank tank or anything else in general about your relationship or situationship, and you want to kind of get my advice on it or my perspective on it, you can go ahead and go into the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description if you're on YouTube. Go to where it says private relationship advice, and you can ask your question there. Type out as much as you want to type, and I respond back to you with a voice message, usually like a 10-minute voice message of exactly what I advise you to do or what I think of your situation. Okay, so you have that option there. Now let's get to some of our questions here. We have a few donation questions and super chats in the YouTube section. Susanna donates $1. Thank you, Susanna. Nicole donates $10. She says, you are precious, Tomisin. Auntie loves you. May God richly bless you for your honesty and helping all of us, LOL. Thank you so much, Nicole. You are such a generous channel member. Nicole also donates $5. She says, would a guy put you in his tank if he had zero real interest in you, if he says he only thinks of you as a friend? Oh. You be asking the hard-hitting questions. I'm not really supposed to be talking about this type of stuff with women. But yeah, trust me, you can be a friend and you're in the spank tank. I'll just say it like that, okay? Don't think to yourself that being in the spank tank is exclusive to being his girlfriend, right? You can be one of his friends that he is platonic with, that he thinks of you as a sister, and you're still in the spank tank, okay? It's very, very possible. I've seen it before. That doesn't exclude you, because what men will externally show you versus what they internally feel are two different things, okay? So they might be your friend, but trust me, every time they see your dump truck, they're looking, okay? So it's not necessarily just a platonic friendship thing, right? Madison says, can I post a mirror picture at work? For sure you can, right? The whole point of it is to just make it look like I'm innocently doing my life, but I just so happen to be looking amazing while I do life, right? That's the kind of way you want to present it, because as you're doing something, nobody can fault you for just living life. But if you're trying too hard, it starts to come across like you're trying really hard. So for example, if you're taking a bikini picture inside, right, on a winter day, in the house, that looks not the way that you want to present yourself. But if you're, like Madison just mentioned, taking a mirror picture of yourself at work, that's totally different, right? Because now they can kind of see the bathroom, they can see you're in work attire, but you happen to be looking good while doing life, okay? It's a lot more casual, and it's a lot more attractive, and it attracts the right type of men. Well, obviously there'll always be men that lust over you because you're attractive, but you're attracting men that aren't just looking for you to expose yourself and then they hit you up, can you expose yourself more type of thing. You get what I mean, right? Someone said you were getting some haters, all the spank tank closeted men. Hey, trust me. This is, like I said, the spank tank thing is not something that a lot of men will be honest to you about. But definitely, it's not a one-off. I'll tell you that. Okay. More men have this quote-unquote spank tank than you actually realize. All right. Even if it's in different ways, whether it be a photo album, whether it be in their of Google Photos folder, whether it be wherever they decide to keep it. Many places that they could keep it, they have one for sure. So, well, a lot of them do. I'll say that. I won't speak for every single man, but a lot of them do, more than you probably realize. All right. Someone said it's like Pinterest for men. That's pretty funny. Hannah says, oh, now I know why my friend saved just a regular picture of me on Snapchat. I wonder why he saved that picture of you on Snapchat. Interesting. I wonder why he would save it to his camera roll, right? Very interesting. All right, chat. Okay, so we went kind of long today on the message. Let's hop into our next segment here, which is going to be our React segment. Electrofield said, thanks for the show. I came professional today. Even though we're talking about a very intimate topic, I came professional today. So we're going to hop into our next segment, which is our React segment. I'll be reacting to TikTok videos that you guys have sent me around the universe about relationships and love. And we're going to be having discussion about those videos while I clean up and get prepared for our next segment. By the way, if you want to ask me a Discord question for our Discord time, make sure you drop your question into our Discord section, our relationship advice section. Do that through the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description. Go into our Discord section. But before we hop into that, we're doing reacts. We're going to watch an intermission video while I clean up of Margarita. You're one of y'all favorites. And she's talking about how to trick people into thinking you're good looking. Okay, so while we watch that, I'm going to clean up. Then I'll be back with you guys in just a moment. All right. Let's see.
Opinion, but if they never unfollowed you, they never liked you. And if they blocked you, they love you.
I'm on that dope again, I'm on that flow again, switch up the flow again, yeah.
And if they blocked you, they love you.
I agree with this, actually. I was going to say I don't agree with this, but I agree with this simply because blocking obviously means that you're bothered by something that someone did or said to you. Blocking also has a very specific reason, though. If you block someone, see, okay, this is the thing that we have to talk about when it comes to blocking. If you're going to block someone, that's fine. But if you're going to block someone, then you have to make sure that that's the final chapter. You can't block someone and then allow them back into your life. When you block someone, that has to be, like Ash just said, that has to be like your stand on business moment, meaning ain't no more after this. Yeah, you might be bothered, but at least you're bothered and you're moving forward. But if you block just to unblock, you're communicating the wrong thing. Because it just makes it seem like, oh, I'm done with you. But you apologize, so now I'm not done with you anymore, okay?
You should never be at home. That's what I tell young people. Home is for 7 hours of sleep, and that's it. The amount of time you spend at home is inversely correlated to your success professionally and romantically. You need to be out of the house. You should never be at home.
Who sent this in? Well, okay. I think in the sense of, if you want things to happen for yourself, I think even more than just not being at home, he also means, because someone in the comments said it's expensive outside, like in the TikTok comment on this video. If you want things to happen for your life, you do have to step outside in order for things to start happening, especially as it relates to relationships. I always tell you guys, like, Prince Charming's not going to come knocking on your door as the pizza man. So it doesn't mean you have to go to the club every night, but exploring your life and your interests will put you in the right places that you want to be. I know a lot of you always ask me, well, Tomisin, how do I meet great men? How do I meet awesome men, intelligent men? Where do I go? Where do I sit? Where do I stand? But you really shouldn't be exploring places solely for the purpose of meeting men. You should be exploring places because something about that place piques your interest, that even if you were to go there and not meet an amazing man, you would still be happy. It's part of what my project consists of, but that's such an important part to even creating an environment that's relaxed enough and low pressure enough that you have the ability to just get to know someone. Even when you go, let's just say for the sake of argument, you go to like a singles event, where the purpose is to meet someone, to date them. That can even feel in itself, something like that can feel like a lot of pressure because you're thinking to yourself, oh, we're all talking to each other to eventually maybe date, right? But the moment you kind of put your focus on something else, like it's a dance class or an art class or whatever, jujitsu you like to do taekwondo, now all of a sudden the people that you're meeting, it's a lot more low pressure. And you don't feel like you have to do so much, and I have to talk about my life, and I have to present it like this and say it like that. Like, you just kind of feel like, oh, we're just here doing this thing. I can have conversation with you if I need to. And if there's a little bit of an awkward silence, it's not like we're only here for the date anyways. We're doing other things. That's kind of the easier version to kind of ease yourself into a relationship and feel people out without it being so much pressure. And I think that's kind of what we can take from it by being outside, so to speak.
Tell young people.
How many women have gone on a date with a man only to ask him a million questions about his life, his family, his hobbies, everything about him, only to have 0 questions be returned? And you can watch it in his eyes. You can see him feeling like, this is amazing. I feel so seen. I feel so known. This connection. Now, the man is experiencing intimacy. He's feeling seen, he's feeling known, he's feeling understood, and the woman is not. The man has 0 curiosity, not asking you any questions at all. Men expect women to do the work of intimacy. They see themselves as the recipient, the participant, but not the initiator. That is a woman's job. Men will sit through a date expecting the woman to do all the emotional labor. Now, while the man is practically falling in love with you on a first date, the woman is asking questions because her own safety depends on it. Is this person who they're presenting to be? If I ask enough questions, will I actually be able to see through the facade and figure out if they're a safe human being? But then you're stuck in a situation where it's completely imbalanced. He's fallen head over heels for you, and you're still not sure who you're talking to. And you don't feel seen, you don't feel known, you don't feel understood. And now you have to do more emotional labor to say no, to turn him down, and the potential danger that can happen when you turn a man down. All of the...
Okay. I don't want to poo-poo on his point here, but in my estimation, see, the world is always full of positives and negatives. You can find negatives with everything. But the thing about it is, the best position, in my estimation, from my perspective, for you to be in when you're dating men is a position of power. Okay? What do I mean by a position of power? A position in which you are the one in the driver's seat. You know, like, you're receiving a lot of information, right? Because relationships and the war of relationships is always about who can get more information. Because as you receive more and more information, you can always decide what you want to do with that information on an ongoing basis. Okay, so if you're meeting men and you're asking them a lot of questions and they're talking a lot about themselves and you're discovering a lot about them, now you know more, right? And you can, see more patterns. Also, he feels closer to you, more attached to you. That's more power. So all of these things kind of, bundle together, and they put you in a position where you are kind of the one in the driver's seat. You might not actually be driving the relationship, but you're driving in the sense of you know what's going on and you haven't revealed your hand, while this guy is head over heels for you, revealing his hand, telling you everything about himself. But now it's less likely that you'll get played that way, which is actually what we want, because I'm sure most of you are tired of getting played, which is why you come here to the Players Club to understand how to not get played. So at the very least, when you have all of that information and he tells you how much of a horrible person he is, you can use that information to say to yourself, well, oh, perfect. Now I know that you're not the type of guy that I'm going to be talking to for very long, which is honestly good. You waste less time.
And then they start to view you as a toy. And the game they play with their little toy is, can I get you to value me more than you value your self-respect?
I don't know if I've ever heard it said.
Oh, this is the same guy again. Let's do other people so everyone can get a chance.
This may or may not be a hot take. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. But I personally feel like, most people ain't that bad in relationships. I feel like most of y'all are just not with people y'all genuinely like and love.
All due respect, the only reason why most of you can't get through the hardships is because you think you have options due to social media. I'ma say it. Social media has allowed y'all to think y'all have options, so you're not willing to go through the hardships. How many hardships have you been through with your friends? How many times have you had disagreements with your friends and y'all weren't seeing eye to eye? Did you break up as friends? No, but you're willing to break up this relationship. The reason why you so easily are so invested on breaking up the relationship is, one, you genuinely don't like him because you start dating them for superficial reasons. You wanted to date her because she only looks good and she got a big booty. You wanted to date him because he's 6 foot tall and he looks good in pictures. Y'all don't date people for who they are. You date them for how they look. Keep doing that and tell me how it works out for you in the long run.
Okay, so I want to add a caveat to this, because here's the thing. He's not wrong in the sense of you actually have to have investment and go through hard times with someone in order to come out and have the great relationship. However, what he's not saying, at least what I don't take from it, and I don't want you to take from it, is that you should endure being treated like garbage, because when you get treated like garbage for long enough, eventually on the other side of getting treated like garbage, there will be a light at the end of the tunnel in which you have a great relationship with that man. That's not how that works. How it should work is when the relationship starts from the very beginning, there's a shared goal, meaning both of you are in agreement of what you expect the future of your relationship to be like, what you want it to feel like, how you want it to look, the dynamic, the way you treat each other, the way you get treated. There should be an understanding of a shared point, a peak. What is the peak of our relationship at its prime? We are both in agreement of what that looks like. Then from there, anytime you guys go through things, fights, arguments, disagreements, you're going back and forth, someone does something to someone else, hurts someone else's feelings, at least when there's that shared point of where we want to get to, it'll allow both of you to hold each other accountable of, hey, remember, this was our goal. And if we're going to get to this goal, you can't be doing this or I can't be doing that. Yes, that is our goal. And at least when you guys are in agreement that way, you can hold each other accountable, work through things, and get to the other side, so to speak. But that doesn't work in a situation where, you know, you're just going through hardships with someone who doesn't want you or doesn't take you seriously. That's not how that works, okay?
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know. Number one, why would I?
He has a ring on his neck, and he's saying that? Okay.
But what is she doing while I'm working? You know, it's kind of like each relationship now is a 50-50.
То, наверное, да. Вот, потому что все-таки я беру ответственность за человека.
Nah, she has to provide for herself. She's an adult.
Конечно, если жена, это семья, это дети, и, конечно, в идеале, чтобы она уделяла 100% времени воспитанию.
Well, I mean, I would want it to be 50-50. That's the current situation I have. Right?
Если ей не хочется работать, если ей не хочется самореализовываться, ей приятно находиться на моем содержании, почему нет, я могу себе это позволить.
I would. I would probably inspire her to work, just so I can see that there is some motive going in her future.
Жизнь, как бы, моя жизненная ситуация устраивает, и я живу с девушкой, я ее содержу.
Она должна другие функции выполнять, а мужчина на своем месте всегда.
America versus Russia, asking...
Okay, you know, I do like to remind you guys that don't have your idea of your perfect man. Oh, my perfect man only lives in Russia, for example, or only lives in Croatia or wherever, right? Because that's also dangerous to getting you trapped into the cycle of just believing that all the good men are in the places that you're not. However, I will say part of this is a little bit of the culture of the place that they live in and what's socially accepted in different places versus other. Me, obviously, I'm Canadian. I'm also actually American, for those of you who didn't know. But I'm Canadian, and for me personally, my background is Nigerian. I don't see a problem with taking care of your woman. I would rather enjoy having enough money to take care of me and my woman than for her to have to feel like she has to work. And I also feel like the idea of 50-50 is not 50-50 in terms of splitting the bills. It's that the things that the woman is good at and specializes in is different from the things that I'm good at and specializing in. But the bill should be on me, and then she takes care of different things, right? So when we're talking about 50-50, the split up is not the bills, to me at least. The split up is the places in a family that the man and the woman specialize in, okay? So, which is obviously going to be different. That's just my own thing. But for other people, I guess they want it to go 50-50 on the bills. My only question, And this could be a question that you present to men who tell you they want to go 50-50 with bills. You can ask them this, because this is the thing that I always think about. I ask, okay, so if you want to go 50-50 on bills, and that's really important to you, right? When you're looking at the bill, you say, oh, honey, this bill is $200.10. Can you give me 105.3 because I want to make sure I factor in the little bit of tax and things like that. And when you transfer the money, there's going to be a little bit taken off on. Me personally, I'm not going to do that. But for other people, if they're worried about that, I want you to ask them, okay, you want to go 50-50, but in the scenario where, the house has to be cleaned up, the children have to get taken to school, the dishes have to get washed, the clothes have to get folded, laundry has to get done. Are we splitting all of those things 50-50 as well? When the children are sick, you're going to take care of them and stay home from work some days, and I'll stay home from work other days. You're going to take them to kindergarten or the playground or this and that other days as well. And if guys' response to you is, no, but that's your job, well, now we're not really living in a 50-50 world. Because if you're taking care of half the bills, then you're just as tired as he is. You're just as exhausted as he is. So why does he get to come home and relax, but you have to come home and do all of the stuff around the house and do all of the stuff dealing with the kids? That's not really 50-50. That's actually more like 80-20, okay? When we factor in everything else outside of the bills. And that's not a diss to the 50-50 people. It's just the reality, okay? Relationships is more than just the paper bills that come in the mail. So whenever guys say that to you, ask them that question and see what their response is. And if their response to you is, oh, yeah, when my woman comes back from work, I expect her to do the dishes and do the laundry and do the this and that, you just say, oh, perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. I just realized on my watch that doesn't exist on my wrist, I actually have somewhere to be right now in this second, and I have to leave before I even get my meal. Waiter, can you come? Can you come? Bring me my stuff, my box. I'm going to leave. And you get out of there. Okay, you don't have to fight, argue with him, convince him of anything. You just exit stage left. Because in my estimation, if you meet a guy like that, he's already in a mindset that he's not willing to give anything. So trying to convince him to give more or be more in a relationship is pointless. Just let him be by himself.
How intimate is too intimate for a situationship? And is kissing more intimate than saying I love you? Because I had this little hookup, I had this little man. We did our little thing a couple of times, but I'm a very kissy type of person, and he was not. He was not into the kissing it. And after a couple of times, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? What's up? What's the problem? What's the big deal, buddy? He said, oh, I just don't want to get feelings involved. I don't do all the kissing because that's how you get feelings involved. First of all, sir, you're inside of me. What are you talking about? You're inside of me, but you don't want to kiss me because you don't want no feelings? We can have a baby. What are you talking about? Second of all, you're telling me to tell you that I love you while you're inside of me, but you don't want to get feelings involved? That's the games they play. That's the issues that they have. That's the mind games. That's the delusions.
Okay, it's exactly, I honestly hate this idea of let's have fun. And I'm saying this as someone who's done it myself, oh, let's just have fun. Let's just, be in the moment. Let's just be present. But even myself, having done it, I've realized it was a mistake and it was a waste of my time. Sure, I took some learning lessons from it, but especially you as a woman, especially if you're in a place where you're ready for relationships or, you're just progressing as a woman, honestly, it's a waste of your time because you only end up having fun up until the point you realize that you want more than fun. Then when you want more than fun, the guys that were having fun with you, they do not want to all of a sudden now pay for a subscription, so to speak, and invest in you seriously when they were getting all of the stuff they wanted from you for free. But this is the problem as well. Throughout the fun phase, some of these guys will do things that will make you feel like, oh, wait, are we doing a fun thing still or are we doing a relationship thing? Okay. Tell me in the chat, has this ever happened to you where a guy has where a guy has basically said, hey, we're just doing a fun thing, and then all of a sudden he's talking to you about things that people who are just casual wouldn't be doing, right? Like saying I love you or I mean, obviously sleeping with you is a little bit intimate, but things like that, right? And he's starting to do lovey-dovey things, and you're like, wait, why are we doing this? I thought this was fun. Then when you start to get on the same page as okay, we're doing more than just the fun, now all of a sudden he's like, whoa, 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 me and you, we not together. It's just a thing where we play boyfriend and girlfriend for the vibes, but we're not actually boyfriend and girlfriend vibes. You know those vibes? Stupid.
You know, when you trying to get over somebody, a lot of people be so quick to say, oh, stay busy, stay distracted, so you won't think about them. Oh, if you are thinking about them, or if you are worried about them, you not busy enough. And that's cool and all. I get the concept behind it, but nobody talk about when you are busy, when you are working hard, you working towards your goals, and you starting to accomplish those goals. You seeing more in your paychecks from working overtime at work. You seeing more progress in the gym by taking the gym seriously, you know, changing your eating habits or whatever the case may be. Nobody talks about when that person just can't get off your mind while you're doing those things. You at work, working overtime every day, 9-10 hour shifts, and you still thinking about that person. That person is still on your mind. You still find time.
So you have money in your pocket and the ability to do whatever you want now. So they on your mind? So
Out your day, you literally find time out your day to hop on your phone and search their name up, see what they got going on, or you still got pictures in your phone. You find time to just go through your pictures.
Delete those pictures. Delete them off your computer, off your Snapchat memories, off your Google Photos, off your hidden photos. Delete them.
Go through your photos on your phone and still look at them. Nobody talk about when they just stuck in your mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can be out there, be working out, working hard, or whatever the case may be, but it's gonna be moments where that person just stuck there. Like, it's like, damn, like I literally can't get them off my mind. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, this type of stuff bothers me. It does. It's not about not having emotions. It's really not. Okay. I encourage all of you to have emotions and feel things. But what you have to understand is life goes on. It does. It has to. I know in your mind, the person that you were with was the only person for you in the entire universe, and there's no way you can ever bond or create a connection with anyone else ever again. But I promise you, after you break up with that person, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week or next month. But as the days go by, it becomes easier and easier and easier to exist without that person. And eventually you'll come to the realization that, yes, I miss them. Yes, it was great having those memories with them, but I'm actually still fine now. I'm actually great now. I'm doing so very well now. And this is the thing. Don't eat yourself up about, oh, I'm out and I'm trying my best and I'm staying busy and I'm productive, but they're still on my mind. Okay, so still continue being productive. Still continue staying busy. Still continue staying focused. Oh, but when I'm busy and I'm making and I'm doing this and I'm still thinking about, so you have money in your account. You look like the bomb. Everyone's approaching you. Everyone wants you to be your friend. You don't have to have it all figured out in 1 second, okay? But as you continue progressing, as time goes on, eventually, when you do get over that person, you will, because eventually you will, trust me. When you get over that person, you'll look back on this time that you spent trying to get over them, and you'll be like, I'm so glad I spent that time actually building myself up instead of spending that time sad about that person. Because at the end of the day, those days were going to pass whether I chose to do something or not. So making the choice to actually do something with my life made me a happier, better person now for my future than if I just sat around. I'm so sad, so I'm just going to sit around and do nothing and be sad and allow myself to feel sad and be sad about sadness, and everything is sad, so I won't move a muscle or do anything with my life. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months from now, 1 year from now, you'll be like, why the F did I spend a year of my life just being sad? I should have been doing this, I should have been doing that, and now I'm so much more behind because I spent a year just being sad. So now it's double on top of the sadness. Now you're ashamed of where you're at in life. It's just way worse. Okay. Anyways, I don't want to rant anymore. Let's go on to our next our next segment, okay? Our next segment, you should know what's coming if you're a very, very OG member of the show, and you know how we do this around here. It's a special time. It's an amazing time. It is a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry, okay? Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your home, okay? Let me make sure we get this right. Okay? If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time, okay? Are you ready? It's a Discord Yeah. Okay, chat. Let's hop into our Discord section of the show. For those of you who have no idea what this is, I'm going to explain this to you real quick so that we can all be on the same page. Discord time is essentially where all the amazing members of our Players Club community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways for you to throw in your question into our Discord section and for me to answer it, and I'll explain them to you all here, okay? Now, the first way to do that is by sending in your message to our relationship advice forum. Our relationship advice forum is available in the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. You get in there, you drop in your question. This one about OnlyFans always makes me laugh. And I will answer it on a first come, first serve basis, okay? So all these questions I haven't answered yet because they're highlighted. I have to get to them first before I can get to yours. Now, if you don't want to wait that long for your question and you want to be able to skip the line, you also have that option. And the way you skip the line is by going over, oh my gosh, we have a lot to do today, is by going over here to our premium Discord relationship advice, and you send in your question here and you get to skip the line. Now, the way you do this properly is by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description, click where it says premium Discord relationship advice, and then you go to it, you put in your title of your question, you put in your title of your username as well, and then you match that title here, and then I'm able to see that that's you. And that's your question on my phone because I get a notification, and then everything is A-okay, and I know you're supposed to be in the section and be able to skip the line, okay? Our next way to send in your question to me is if you don't want your information to be read out on the show, because obviously you're going to have to get into detail and you want it to be private just between me and you. You can also ask me a question by going to our private relationship forum here in our Discord, or you can access this same link in my link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice, type out your question, and I respond back to you with a voice message and I send it to your email, okay? No one else sees it. Let's hop into our first premium question here, which comes from Electric Feel. Ooh, Electric Feel. She's an OG. Hype me up. My ex's wait, what? Hype me up? Why does it start with your ex? My ex's birthday is coming right up, and I need a pep talk to stay strong, to feel good about my decision to not wish him a happy birthday. Chat, we need to help Electric Feel not wish her ex a happy birthday. He expressed that we should be able to still be friends, the worst thing to do with an ex. We're not doing the still friends thing, because he said our connection was more than just the physical. No. Yet, I feel like the bad guy, never acknowledging him when he always sends me birthday wishes and most recently condolences. It's great that he's a great guy and a nice guy and he's willing to send you a nice birthday message. Please do not reach out to him. It's just a recipe for disaster, and trust me, exes always like to convince you to stay friends because who does it benefit if he can suck you back in? Him. Having him on Facebook, I'm hyper aware knowing he's watching me. Every time December 12th rolls around, I start tripping and feeling like I'm so purposefully not acknowledging him. And truthfully, I think about it all day and it ruins my day and I end up feeling lousy. I'm not willing to acknowledge his day because truthfully, anything he'd say to me, would cause me to have obsessive thinking, which is even worse. Will send you down a spiral. Is there no way I can enjoy this day ever? What does he think or feel when I keep missing his birthday on purpose? In my mind, he thinks I'm going too far, not acknowledging him, but really I'm protecting myself. Okay. Before we finish this message, one thing that I always like to point out to all of you is that the only person's happiness that truthfully matters in this life of yours is your own. I know it sounds very selfish. That's because it is. That's because that's how it should be. The only way you can ever show up for people that you love and care about in your life is by showing up first for yourself, satisfying your own happiness and sanity, that you can then go out and be able to give love to people. If you don't first satisfy your own happiness, it'll become very difficult to ever give love to anyone, platonic or not. And the reason that I say that is you can't be worried about electric field specifically. You can't be worried about, is your ex happy or unhappy with the things that you're doing, right? And Nicole just said in the chat, right? He's an ex for a reason, meaning if he's your ex-boyfriend and he doesn't feel it's necessary, he is not in a place where he's investing in you and wants to build a relationship with you, and he's a friend now, you don't owe him anything, right? If he doesn't like how you're acting, too bad, so sad. You're not going to be in a relationship with him, so it doesn't really matter what he thinks of you or what you're doing. I know it sounds very mean, but you have to realize your energy needs to be spent in places that actually matter. So an ex that is not dating you anymore and you're not going to be with because you know it didn't work out, that his opinion of you, what he wants from you, what he thinks you should or shouldn't do, truthfully doesn't matter, because he's not in your inner circle of things that even matter or affect your life. If he's mad at you or doesn't like the things you're doing, cool. You're not dating him anyways. Are you following me? I know it sounds like a very cold way to approach life, but like I said, your happiness is the first thing that you have to address. In the past, when we communicate, it's a coin toss whether he's going to be kind to me and helpful, tagging me on social media for our kids or for our gigs. Conversely, he will casually chat and then send me photos of his music studio, and in the corner there's some mystery girl's leg and she's breaking up weed in her lap. So like, what's the point of that? Just to traumatize you again and get you feeling anxious and wondering what he's doing again, right? It just seems like a power play there. It's obvious he tries to trigger me, exactly like I said. I think because he disagrees with me that we can't be friends. So the point of him thinking that he disagrees with you, that you can't be friends, is to trigger you or force you into what's the point, right? It's just, these are the type of people that you want to stay far away from, because it seems like they're just trying to like either force you to believe what they want to believe or just trying to bother you so that you still think about them, which is kind of working. It would be too painful to be friends. That's why we broke up in the first place. The pain of enduring his BS for me outweighed the enjoyment of connection. I don't want to have a crap day because it's his special day every year, and it reminds me of a beautiful and now sentimental time of my life 4 freaking years ago. Years ago or years spent with him? What do you mean? 4 years ago it's been since you guys broke up, or 4 years you were in a relationship? Could I please have a pep talk to prepare me to be good with my decision? And any other thoughts are always so helpful. You have a crazy unique gift. Thank you. Thanks, Tomisin, and the amazing ladies in the chat in advance for helping me manage my thoughts. Please, please do not message him. I beg of you. I personally beg of you. I love and care about you, Electrofield, and your happiness and well-being. There is no need to lose your mind over someone who isn't even bothered enough about you to be in a relationship with you. Okay, he clearly has his attention on other women that he's dating that are rolling up his weed in his studio, and your focus should be on you and the people that actually care and love about you. I know you had a moment with him. I know, you guys had a thing and you did a thing where a thing was happening and you guys were a thing, but that time is over. And in order for you, think about it like this, and this can kind of reshape the way that you spend time. Think of your life like a series of boxes, right? Each day is a box. And as you're living each day, you're ticking off each one of these boxes, and you have one less box to go through, right? The days are running down. Now, understand that every day that you spent stagnated or going back to the sky with your energy and with your focus is a day spent less giving you the chance to meet the guy that you want to meet the guy that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, that could be the love of your life. So every day that you spend on him and focused on him and what he wants or what he thinks is one less day with the love of your life, or one less day, right, that you could possibly meet him and spend that time with him. So when you start thinking of it like that, not only am I wasting time, but I'm also taking away time from the possible love of my life, then it starts to become a little bit more urgent to you that you move forward instead of continuing to reminisce forever. Because obviously you and this guy aren't going to be in a relationship, right? So the reminiscing, sure, it feels good to reminisce, but at a certain point, what is the reminiscing actually doing for you? It's not pushing you forward or giving you momentum to get what you actually want, which is the love of your life. And so when you understand it like that on both ends of the spectrum, that not only am I wasting time, but I'm also taking away time from the people that I actually do want to spend time with, it becomes a lot more, feels a lot more urgent, which is good. You want your time to feel urgent, that you have to spend it in the right places rather than just spending it aimlessly, missing someone who doesn't even want to treat you right. And exes and friends is not a thing, ever. Don't let anyone convince you that. All right, let's go into our next question here. We have a lot of premium questions. All right, Jay says, just simply X. I'm a 33-year-old female. He's a 33-year-old male. We dated from October 1st to December 29th last year. He took me to Mexico, I think you might say, for my birthday on, November 26th. At the 3 months mark, I mentioned not wanting to come into the new year with any confusion. Okay. He was your ex, right? So you were dating him. Okay. He said that out of genuine respect for me, he needed to be honest and he wasn't ready. Okay. I accepted it and we ended things cordially. I went ghost for 3 months. When I returned back to social media, he attempted to reach out a few times, but I ignored him. At the 5 to 6 month mark of no contact, he asked if I would like to join him in Cabo. So let me get this straight. You don't talk to him for 5 to 6 months after breaking up with him, after you guys break up, and his the reach out is join me in Cabo. That sounds normal to you? I said no. I'm glad you said no. You got some sense. He FaceTimed me from his solo trip. It's a solo trip? It's a solo trip to Cabo? You sure? And I instantly asked, what do you want from me now? Why did you answer? Why did you answer? I don't like to be mean, but I always have to call out things when I see them. If you really don't care, or you're really over this, or you really think he has nothing serious to say, why did you answer the call? The question should be answered, right? He said, nothing, just friendship. Great, then you hang up the call. What's the point? You're going to be friends now? Don't do that. I told him I couldn't offer him that and went back to no contact. He reached back out in early September, 9 months of no contact, and asked if we could meet in person. I agreed. He began communicating daily with me. I kept my distance. In October, he began asking if I'd further like to go to dinner, churches, dates, etc. I went on a few dates. We didn't sleep together, although temptation was there. In early November, after 6-ish, it intensified. 6-ish dates, it intensified. What do you mean by it intensified? What do you mean by that? He opened up and told me he felt like he's falling behind in life. So, you're friends now. So he made the decision to downsize his $5,000 a month apartment and was going to rent a room in a house to save for 12 months. Let's do some quick math here. You said you live in what area? Okay, you didn't mention it. Let's just assume he lives in a high-cost living area. Let's assume you guys live in like NYC. The average rent for like a good, solid one-bedroom in NYC, the biggest city in North America, is around $3,000. I'm talking about like a good living space. You're not living in a closet, okay? $3,000 a month, and you'll live good in NYC. He's saying he's going from a $5K month apartment to renting a room in a house. All he would have to do to downsize is just get a regular 1-bedroom spot that he can definitely get even in NYC for $3,000 a month. Trust me, like rent's high, but you can definitely get a decent spot in NYC for $3,000 a month. The cost of living is high in Toronto too. You can get an apartment, a good apartment for less than $3,000, way less than $3,000. You can get a good apartment for $2,400, okay, in Toronto, right? He expressed that due to him not having an apartment, it's been affecting his ego, and he said he should focus on becoming a better man, finances, getting closer to God, etc. Maybe he lost his job, right? I just think that that's something. It's one of those things that when people say that to you, you should ask more questions to try to understand what is the logic here. Because the logic of, oh, nothing has really changed, I just want to save money, so I'm going from $5K a month apartment to living in someone's basement of someone's house, that doesn't really, he just took someone even said it, Ari just said it, he just took a trip to Cabo as well. So what's going on? Why is there such a drastic change? Did you lose your job? Okay, then that makes sense, right? But that's such a drastic change to go from going to Cabo, spending $5K a month, and now you want to live in someone's basement. That's not a regular thing. So understanding what's going on will give you a lot of clarity there, or help you see if he's lying about something. I didn't want to remain in limbo while he figured life out, which you shouldn't. So I had the conversation, and he admitted that he doesn't feel like he's ready to give me what I deserve right now. Honestly, this is good. I'm not saying that being a ride or die is bad, but if he's saying that, oh, I'm not in the place that I want in my own life, and because of that, I can't be the man that you need, and I can't give you clarity, then you get out of town, right? Don't waste your time with men who are telling you, oh, I don't have life figured out, so I don't know what I want with you also. That's not going to work. At least if you can say, I'm struggling, but I do want to be with you and committed to you, that's a different story. But this, oh, I'm struggling, but I don't know how we're going to do a relationship, that don't work. He's like, I love you, but it's not the right time. Perfect. Then you go ahead about your business. He thanked me for being an inspiration to his growth. In his words, I find much of my peace, joy, safety, comfort, and motivation in you. That's all great. Sounds great. Sounds great on a movie script. Okay. Doesn't matter. You're going to move forward. I need to find that in myself and God. This is what he's saying to you. You can't be my only source of happiness. I agreed. We ended it again. I'm exhausted and want to put this to complete rest by blocking him on everything. But my fam/friends said that may be extreme. Why is that extreme? Don't let people convince you that it's extreme to move forward with your life. Whatever you need to move forward with your life, just do that. Don't worry about it being too extreme or someone rubbing someone the wrong way. Chat. You can't worry about rubbing people the wrong way that you're not even in a relationship with. You can't. It's too hard to be thinking about multiple people's happiness at once, because some people's happiness will be contradictory to other people's happiness, and you'll lose your mind trying to balance everyone's happiness. Worry about your own happiness. Do the work of figuring out what makes you happy or what you need in that moment, and just do that. However people feel about what makes you happy, let them feel that way. And if they decide that they don't want to be your friend or associate themselves with you because of the choice you made, then so be it. But serve your happiness first, because that's the easiest thing to decide and do and act on, and that you will at least be the one that's happy with you, as opposed to trying to serve everyone else's happiness. And then at the end of the day, you're the one that's the most unhappy. Okay? Right? Because that's exactly what's going to happen if you start doing that. So if you need to block him to move forward, then block him. And I honestly would advise you to, just simply because the guy's telling you, I don't have the capacity to focus on you or a relationship with you. I have to figure stuff out in my life. At that point, it's not your job to say, oh, you're telling me you can't do a relationship. I'm going to stick around until one day maybe you're ready to do a relationship. If he's telling you I can't do one, then you say, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate your time and I appreciate, our memories, but I'm going to move forward. And you let them be. Because if you don't do that, then what's going to happen is as you force a relationship to happen, the men will only end up resenting you and telling you down the line, oh, I never wanted this anyways. You're the one that, put us in this, or you're the one that was having us in a relationship. I told you I wasn't ready. Then you'll turn around and you'll be like, wait, I put in all this effort and you're only here to tell me that you weren't ready from the beginning and that's your excuse for doing me dirty? So you're better off just letting people come to you when they're actually ready and they know that they want you and are prepared to do what's necessary for you, or else you won't be able to hold them accountable for anything. All right, let's go on to our second question, or third question here. This one says Daddy Issues by Carla. Okay. Carla says, hi, Tomisin, I'm 21. The details may seem over-exaggerated, but I put them as simple as possible. Me and my dad have had a dreadful relationship nearly my whole life. I was bullied in all levels of school from the age of 7 to now. Okay, sorry to hear that. I was never a troublemaker, which meant I dealt with it as much as it came, whether it was fair or not. I would get physically punished by my parents when my teachers would report my behavior. But they never took into consideration that when I was misbehaving, it was because I was being bullied and wanted to defend myself. My father does not know how to control his emotions or opinions on me. Okay. This looks like screaming hysterically, slamming his arms on things, throwing things, saying irreversible things like you're a failure. If you dress like a slut, you're going to be treated like a slut. And throwing insults like you stupid A. Oh, wow. He would take his discipline to an unnecessarily high level by punching me in the shoulders, headbutting me. That's insane. Kicking me and hitting me with objects like brooms and brushes. That's physical abuse. After he finished, he or I would call my mom to get me because he couldn't stand to have me in his presence any longer. He would apologize and my mom would be sent back. Would send me back to him each weekend. At level 1 again, no matter how often I told her I didn't like going back. Oh, okay, that's pretty painful there. I've always loved being multifaceted. He despised me wearing makeup while it was one of the things that I wanted to make a living off of. A true passion of mine, and would get my mom to take all my makeup and toss it out. So he would get your mom to toss out your makeup. He would ask me what I want to be in life. I'd say a dancer, meaning choreographer. He automatically assumes I mean stripping and goes ballistic. I tell him I'm interested in fashion modeling. He asks why I want to show my body off so badly. If it's 95 degrees outside, it's 95 degrees. I ain't got anyways. It's 95 degrees outside and I'm in a tank top and shorts. I'm dressed like a O. To him, if I'm in a sweater and joggers, I'm dressed like a bum and I'm not repping him correctly. If I get my hair braided at an unusual length, I look unprofessional and extra. 2 weeks after I got a haircut in 2021, he tried to lecture me on why he doesn't like my interest my interest or life choices, and told me he hated me. Oh, wow. And how he doesn't know who I am. And he didn't want me around. 3 weeks after that, he calls me apologizing. Wow. Okay. I forgave him. In 2023, he bought me my first car. He asked me to pay him back half of the cost. At the time, I was 18 in between jobs and couldn't pay him the money when we had agreed. He was upset, which I understood, and I tried explaining to him my circumstances. He hung up on me. In the midst of that, he tried asking my mom if I was pineapple active. She would tell him because that obviously was, she wouldn't tell him. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Because obviously that wasn't any of his business. He took it upon himself to start stalking my social media. Is this Chat, is this her dad? This is her dad, right? What's going on here? Sorry, I feel like this is her dad, right? Why is your, okay, that's all right. Took my phone and went through it for answers, which was a huge invasion of privacy to me, which also didn't make sense to me because why would someone else want to know about my insides? This is getting quite strange. From there, I decided to message him, telling him our relationship clearly isn't going to work of the prior reasons mentioned, and I can't live for his approval. And since he doesn't approve of who I am, it would be better for us to love from a distance. He chose to not read it because he isn't reading all that. That's what he said to you, and feels like I could sneak something in that's meant to be said to him directly to him. Okay. My mom, and my grandma continued begging me to reach back out for the past year, sending money. They would not stop pandering. Pandering is not the word here. I think I'm going to say just bothering me to talk to him again. Pandering doesn't fit in that sentence for what you're trying to say. This past weekend, I finally talked to him to get everyone off my nuts. He starts going on about how he's still the same, him, and if I'm still me, it's not going to work. Okay. Basically, reiterating how he doesn't like me, still raising his voice, slamming his fist on the table, cursing excessively, triggering my flinching reflexes in tears. I would ask him to stop. He would do it again right after I asked him to stop to spite me. After re-explaining that I can't live for his approval, he goes on to say, here you go again talking about what you can't do. Okay. He feels that I'm a spoiled brat. Okay, I'm not going to skip because I don't want to read your message, but I do want to kind of get to the question so that we can kind of all be on the same page here. Because I know you're trying to tell as much as you want, but I want to keep it fair for other people that also have questions, okay? So I now feel unmotivated and unsuccessful, just like how I felt dealing with him. Since the encounter, it threw off my entire shift the following day, and I got fired as a result. I'm beginning to resent my mom for not respecting my boundaries and force me back to people like him that drain me. I plan on paying him back the $1,500 I owed him to move out of my mom's when I can afford it. Advice moving forward, okay? So let me just kind of read up here just to kind of get an understanding of why you owe him the money, okay? It's not because I don't want to read your whole message, but I do want us to get to the point of the message. She's tired of me acting like a victim. Apologize for my boundaries. Okay, here we go. Respecting my boundaries. Wait. Oh, that was it. I didn't see where you mentioned it. Okay. So, anyways, long story short here. The thing about it is, whether it be, I understand your situation in terms of maybe you owe him money and you want to figure out how can I just dead this or start moving forward. The way that you move forward when it comes to family is at a certain point of your dad is not going to change who he is. Your mom's not going to change who she is. Your grandma's not going to change who she is. And you're an adult now, so you're not going to change. When you get to a place in your life where you realize that the dynamic that you have with one of or both of your parents is just not working, the best thing to do is, like you said, love them from a distance. And even though your mom will tell you, hey, talk to your dad, have a conversation with him, make it right, whatever the case may be. If you've experienced through real experience that doing that doesn't work and doesn't yield you any result, then it's time to realize that, you're just moving in circles here. And sometimes you have to come to the realization that people might want me to do things and want things for me in my life. If I don't want those things, I'm just not going to give it any energy. And I know it's your mom asking you to do it, right? So you feel like the pressure to actually do it and the pressure to actually talk to him and, try and figure out some middle ground with him. But if your dad is not willing to meet you in the middle and not willing to acknowledge some of his own mistakes, which basically from the gist of your message, I'm getting the sense that he's not willing to admit to his own mistakes and faults, then that's just not going to work. And honestly, that's okay. I mean that it's okay from the standpoint of you're still going to live and you'll be fine. And you just have to accept, like we actually mentioned in our messages before, your happiness is the only thing that you can control and the only thing that you should really be worried about. So if your dad is draining you to the point where you're distracted and you're losing your job or you can't work right or do what you need to do for yourself, then you have to realize that that might have to be someone you let go out of your life. It's not that you're never going to have a dad, right? He's still your dad. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be the best version of you and you know the best version of you is not consisting of having him being close to you, then that's just something you're going to have to accept in order to move forward. Because what are you going to do? Continue going around in circles? There's never going to come a point in time where you're going to tell your dad, hey, you need to change this and this and this, and he's actually going to change. And until he has his own epiphany or realization that I actually want to make a change and I want to have a better relationship with my daughter, you're never going to get what you want out of him and out of that relationship. So it's better for you to focus on continuing to make yourself happy, even if that means some people in your own family, i.e. your mom or your dad or your grandmother, will be unhappy with you. Because at the end of the day, they'll eventually, if they really love you, right? Let's eliminate your dad at least. If your mom and your grandma really love you or other people in your family really love you, they will realize that after a while of you not talking to your dad, right, you're going to do what you want to do. And what makes you happy at the end of the day is what they want. Because if they truly love you, they want the best for you. And if they don't want the best for you, despite knowing how, you know, your dad is kind of bringing you down and weighing you down, then at the end of the day, it's F them. It's F them. I hate to say that when it comes to family, but you have to understand family, blood don't make you family. And if people can't support your happiness, especially when it comes to someone putting you down, someone degrading you, someone disrespecting you, whether that be a family member or not, and people aren't okay with you distancing yourself from that family member, despite knowing exactly what goes on with that family member, then you gotta get to a place where you just say F them. You gotta say F them because at the end of the day, when your parents pass away, you will be left with yourself. And if you spent all of those years of your life living for your parents, and now they've passed away and they're gone, you'll be like, damn, what do I do now? Because I'm unhappy with my life. I'm unhappy with the things that I'm doing. I'm unhappy with the where my life sits right now. And because I'm so unhappy with that, I don't know what to do with myself. And when you're in a position like that, you'll be resentful of all the energy you put into making your parents happy instead of making yourself happy. Okay? And that's the worst feeling, because when you're on your deathbed, you don't want to be living with a whole bunch of regret that, damn, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have took care of myself in this way. I should have went and gone to do this, right? That's not a life worth living, right? A life worth living is saying, despite how other people felt about that stuff, whether my mom was angry, my dad was angry, my brother was angry, I made me happy. I explored what I wanted to explore. I did what I wanted to do. I saw what I wanted to see. And sure, some people might have a problem with that. Some people might get rubbed the wrong way about that, but I die happy. Okay? Sounds selfish, but you have to look out for you. Even if your own family members or loved ones won't bother to do that for you. Okay? Let's do one more here. All right? We still got another question here. Okay. Sis aka Anna says, Insta Reels Part 2. I confronted him as if a random girl had talked about him just to see if he really did like the Reels. So what Sis/Anna is talking about, her boyfriend likes some very suspicious Reels about cheating and about, texting his other hoes and things like that. So she's trying to get clarity on, what are you doing here? So Sis then goes on to say, he admitted that the first month of us being in a talking stage, see, I told you, asking questions is always good. And when I was in Lebanon, he did text a few girls here and there on Snapchat, but that he knew I was the one and that he'd be serious with me and looked at them as short-term girls that he played. He's saying the truth because I remember when I was in Lebanon, his Snap score would increase by 200 a day versus the day I came back, it would increase by 0. Okay. Are you guys watching guys' Snapchats? Is that what we're doing now? Okay. He said he downloaded Snapchat plus the day we started. The day we started talking and would check my Snap score every day. So he would check yours as well. You guys are checking Snap scores? Okay. So I guess I'm not the only crazy one. He also admitted he checks my Insta following daily and overthinks when I take too long to respond. Good. He then asked if I wanted to go through his phone because he saw, I was upset, and I said no. But he showed me everything anyways, and there was no girls at all. Okay. He said money isn't important, but he has never spent near to what he spent on me, with a girl. $700 on dinners for me versus his ex max were $50. And he's never taken trips with another girl before. And he said, I love you for the first time. And he said he never said that to a girl before. He says he talks to everyone about how much he cares about me, including his brother, cousins, and he said he wanted me for 4 years. Okay. And that since our first date, he told his cousin I was perfect and that I'd be all his. He told me he loves me and that he sees something long-term with me and always wants the best for me and for me to be happy and feel like a princess. He says that I'm the one and etc. He also wanted to go through my phone, but he has trust issues due to his ex cheating. So I let him, and we also shared locations, and he made me turn on red receipts so he wouldn't overthink that I'm ignoring him when I take long to text back. Okay. Someone said, what's a Snap score? A Snap score is, for those of you on the older side, the Snap score is just when you Snapchat someone and you communicate with them, your score goes up. And so the score is keeping track essentially of how much you communicate with people. So if you add someone on Snapchat and their Snap score is 1 million, then you know they're sending a lot of Snapchats back and forth. If you add someone and their Snap score is 2,000, then you know that person doesn't use Snapchat a lot, okay? Okay, anyways, the next day I took pre-workout and went to the gym with him. Tomisin, I don't know why I took this pre-workout. The last time I took it, it made me depressed. Wow, that's a crazy pre-workout. Anxious and crazy too. So it made me like this time. I threw it away now. Also, my mom was calling me a million times, accusing me of being with the guy. And earlier that day, I had school all day and work and was exhausted. And when I wanted to go to the gym, she nagged me to teach my brother Okeem. What is this? What is Okeem? I don't know what that is, chat. Tell me what that is. But she was worried about him getting tired as if I wasn't exhausted. Okay. I complained about this to my boyfriend. Oops. Where did I lost my spot. Okay. Anyways, I lost my spot. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Jim, we stocked a beautiful place in dinner and pineapples, but I was still acting very weirdly about the situation and confronted him. I want to see your question because sometimes there's a lot of detail here. I didn't say out loud but I asked him why he rejected them, and he said he just look at the post. It was half naked. Wait, what? Stud? So this is you guys going back and forth about him unfollowing a girl and him rejecting a girl, okay? To make matters worse, I always usually have my looks to back me up and make me feel less insecure because I usually look gorgeous. Everyone tells me I'm a mix of Megan Fox from Transformers and Margot Robbie. And not gonna lie, they say I'm way prettier even. But today I looked clapped. I was so stressed, so I had pimples on my face and my hair was frizzy, and I haven't gone to the gym in a while because of finals. So not only was I being negative, I also looked the part, like looked negative. I don't know what to do now. Now I feel I need to over-explain and prove myself to him. His Snap score increased by 1 and he still hasn't responded. Do you think I messed up? Update, he texted me back, so sweet, and called me 20 times to make sure I'm fine, so I think I'm okay. Wait, so what? So all the things that you were freaking out about, you're saying it's fine now? Is that what that... Okay. I guess it's fine now? After, because I'm assuming the whole point of your message was that he didn't message you and you're wondering why he didn't message you, and now he messaged you back, and everything's all good. All right, Chad, that's the show for today. Okay, I guess we had Anna's situation, sister's situation solved itself. For those of you who have a question for me, and you want to ask your question, feel free to go into our relationship advice forum in our Discord section and ask your question, or in our premium Discord section and ask your question there. We all love Anna in the chat. Come on, guys. We love Anna. She's here all the time. She's a regular asking questions. Great questions, amazing questions. For those of you who have a question, also take your chance to ask your question, whether it be in our free relationship advice section or in our premium relationship advice section, or a private question for me. All of those links are available in my TikTok bio or in my YouTube description. You can get the private relationship advice or the Discord relationship premium advice there in those places. Okay. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show from the beginning because you missed some points or you came late, my username on YouTube is just Tomisin Atobatele. You can just type in my first name. And then once you get into my YouTube channel, go into the live section and you can rewatch the entire show from start to finish with all of the points there and the YouTube and TikTok live chat embedded in there. For those of you who are on TikTok, also, you can follow me on Instagram. It's just above my head on the top left corner of the screen, Thompson_Tub. And for those of you who are on YouTube, it's just in the bottom and the description there if you want to follow me on Instagram. For those of you who are wondering when I'm here, what timings that I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. And we'll be together again tomorrow at that exact time, 4 p.m. EST. All right. Until we meet again, right? More baby oil for you. Take your baby oil and go. Today's show was especially for those of you in the Discord who voted on today's show. And we'll talk about nice guys another day. All right. Until we meet again, arrivederci, au revoir, goodbye, ciao, salam, hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you. It won't be long before we're together again.